Okay, this is for the upper die outer ring. Now I'm going to only do parts of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm going to start with this profile down here, draw that, do the revolve. I'm not going to do the holes that are around here. You can do that. I would suggest making one up here and then doing a circular pattern to finish the others. I am going to focus on getting this peg on here. So make sure that you know to do the fillets with the radius here and the chamfers at that spot, and look at that. So let's go ahead and start with what I am going to do. So it starts with the profile, and we're going to do that as a revolve around our axis up here that I've already set. And we're set with that piece. Now from there, I'm going to turn it towards the back here, and I'm going to create a work plane. And when I click, I'm going to hold it down so that I get it offset. Now this offset is going to be in the distance that would be the center point of those stands that are coming out, those sort of pole arms. Then I'm going to create a sketch on this plane. Now from here, I need to do a few things. I think it's easier if we do slice graphics. And then I'm going to do project geometry. And then we're going to start with a construction line that works from that center point on up to the outside. And our next line is going to go from that center point out again, but this time as it goes up, we're going to actually give it a dimension of 2 inches. And then we're going to set the dimension from the first construction line to the other line. The angle between the two, I'm going to click on those two lines, should come up as degrees. I'm going to set that. And then this is where it's going to start to become a little bit more complicated, and we're going to have to do some other stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do offset for this line. I'm going to pull that out a ways, and that distance that it's going out is based on, we're going to do a revolve for this, so I need to do half of the diameter as we usually do for such things. And now I'm going to trim a bunch of this down. So using the trim command, I'm going to get rid of some of these other pieces that I don't need. Just leaving these two lines up here. Now the next thing is a circle that's going to go from the line that we originally drew as the center point, the top of that, out to the other line. I'm going to add some constraints on this to make sure that it's correct. And the first is going to be a tangent constraint for that line on the outside. Make sure it's hitting just right. And then I'm going to add another line coming up from the center point straight up. Doesn't usually want to go straight up, so I'm going to use the collinear constraint to cause that to be straight. Now I'm going to trim some more of this excess off here, and we're left with that shape. Last couple things we're going to try, and this is where it can vary from thing to thing, is a line down inside of the shape here. It doesn't matter exactly where as long as it is there. And then I'm going to trim these pieces off as well. And then I have the shape that I need that I'm going to revolve around this axis. To make sure this works right though, I'm going to do a thing called close loop. So I'm going to right click on the line, get close loop, say OK, and then I'm going to get the other selections. Whenever it says do you want to combine, say yes. And hopefully you'll get this closed loop has been successfully closed. And click OK. Now we should be able to revolve that. So we'll see if that works out. Finish sketch. do a revolve of that shape, and then we select our axis in the middle here, and it's a full revolve and should look about like that. Now that looks pretty good. So the only thing we have left to do is a circular pattern that will include the features of that revolution and the rotation axis, which is just a circle around the outside. Now I only need the 2 of these, and the placement in terms, I'm not going to go all the way around, I'm just going to go the distance that was set on our document here for those. Now remember, as I finish this, that I didn't do the chamfer, I didn't do the fillet on these edges, I didn't make these holes. All that you need to do. Make sure that you have the right dimensions on everything as you do that. When you're done, you should have that. I would suggest going to the work plane, turning off the visibility, and you should be set with that shape. So it's important that you get all the rest of these right dimensions with the hole in the right place along that similar line from where we started to compare this to. And make sure you save it as upper die outer ring.